Welcome to this webinar on birthday fundraisers outside of Facebook. So first, a few of the usual statements. The webinar is being recorded. You can ask questions both in the chat and in the Q&A panel. And my name is Jesper. I'm CEO of Better Now, and we will skip the usual introductions about both me and Better Now. You can read way more about Better Now at betternow.org. So I'll encourage that. Instead, we'll just jump straight into digging into why you should look at birthday fundraisers outside of Facebook. So I'll basically just today it's gonna almost sounds a bit like a sales speak, and that's basically because I'm gonna defend a statement. And that statement is that when you promote peer-to-peer fundraising, you should not be promoting Facebook as an option. And also, it's also really important to notice what I'm not saying. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't use Facebook. Facebook is great and it's free donations, but what my argument is that you should use it opportunistically. So whenever something happens on Facebook, someone creates a fundraising page, someone makes a donation, all good, definitely good. It's when you reach out to your supporters and encourage them to create a fundraising page, that's when you shouldn't be using Facebook. That's when you should be using your own white label peer-to-peer fundraising solution. So to make that argument, I'm going to go through 4 different reasons for why that is the case. So reason number 1, fundraisers will be fundraising more. Reason number 2, you will be giving them a way better experience. Reason number 3, you'll be getting more data and way more contact permissions from donors. And reason number 4, it's going to be way less work for you. As sort of like the last thing we're going to go through, we're going to preview a little almost cookbook recipe for how to create an ongoing birthday fundraising campaign. So let's just jump out to reason number 1. And here I'll just let the data speak for itself, tell the story. So 207 euros is the average fundraising amount for birthday fundraiser through Better Now's white label products. It's measured across mainly Scandinavian and Spanish charities, and it's measured over the last 2 years in 2020 and 2019. The average on Facebook is 82 euros, so way lower. And this is actually even, and here it's not totally apples to apples comparison, because this is actually measured on UK, US, and Irish data. And if anything else, that's actually gonna be skewing that towards probably in the higher end, as they have a more mature fundraising culture than we have in Scandinavia and Spain. So in other words, I'm quite confident that this is an actual difference, and this is a big reason for moving outside of Facebook. Now, one reason for this difference is, of course, that we see way more of the bigger birthdays, like the 40 and 50, the 60-year-old, the round birthdays, right? The one where you have many guests and get many gifts and therefore many donations. But we also see, and on Facebook, you probably have also more of those. That's just like pressing the button and suddenly you have a fundraising page, and that also lowers the average. But there's still, since it's more than double the average amount, there's still plenty of room in that result to, I think, make the argument that fundraisers fundraise more outside of Facebook. And let's dig into why that is. So first, we can look at basically donors trust you more than they trust Facebook, and increasingly so. To back this up with a bit of data, we have seen when we move customers from the Better Now giving platform and on to a white label platform where everything is branded with the charity, and Better Now is not even visible. In those cases, we saw that an uptake on around 11% on donations to fundraisers, and that was in the same period for the same campaigns and for the same charities. So now we're actually talking that apples to apples comparison. But I'm actually not, my belief is not that this is the main reason. The biggest reason is that the fundraisers are successful when they have a high commitment to fundraising. And and this is actually contrary to especially what many social media managers out in the organizations believe, namely that it's all about easy social media sharing. And that's not the case. We can see that those fundraisers that are successful, they are not doing 10 social media posts. They are reaching out individually or by group to the family members, colleagues, friends, those they play football with. And they're reaching out and asking for donations personally. And that's what making a difference. And that requires commitment. And that commitment, that is something that's generated, especially when they get a lot of value out of doing it. And that moves us into reason number 2, namely that they get more value from fundraising when it happens on your site. So this is an example of a birthday fundraiser for Hjärnfonden in Sweden. It's a product delivered by Better Now. Here, the fundraiser is closely associated with the brand and storytelling of that charity. And that is a really important part because fundraisers are out trying to build an identity around them as a generous human being that does something for the good of the world. And that is way easier for them to convince themselves about when they're doing it on your homepage and they're more aligned with your brand and your values. And that's actually also, it's not unlike when you do corporate fundraising, right? There's a reason that most corporates would always prefer to be fundraising on your homepage because it means they are more closely associated with your brand, and it's the same for individuals. The second reason why they get more value is that you basically help them way more. This spring, Better Now launched a birthday product where there's a built-in message journey very specifically to a birthday fundraiser. That means that we're going to give them advice and tips that are very relevant specifically for birthday fundraising. It also means that all of them are going to get thank you emails. They're all going to get encouragement when they reach the milestones. And we are even sending machine learning generated recommendations for how they can improve their fundraising page. And it's all automated, not the least. The third reason is that you will be getting leads for recurring donors. And you will be getting this because on your own page, you'll be able to, you own the data. You can decide if you want to rely on consent to contact them, or if you want to rely on legitimate interest and the monetary relation. You can define the consent statement. And all of this just happens, right? You don't need to use ninja tactics, as some call it, to try to gather data post-payment. It's all yours and it's readily available. Again, we're also seeing a trust having a big impact here, right? So just as we saw increasing giving levels when we moved charities from the Better Now platform to white label pages, we saw also a huge increase in the number of contact permission, plus 71%. And again, we believe that since we're taking Better Now out of the branding, out of the equation, there's just more trust. Since everything else equal, you always tend to trust the platform provider, Better Now or Facebook or whoever it is, less than they are trusting you. They're very trustworthy charity. Reason number 4 is that it's less work. So with the automated email flow, all fundraisers will have a thank you email being sent to them. You will not forget to thank some Facebook fundraiser who fundraised a decent amount. They will all get guidance. They will all feel that, hey, they have been heard and you have seen them and you're thanking them. You will also be able to integrate all the data to your CRM system, and it can all work automatically. You don't need to do manual imports and exports. So all in all, it's less work. You will be providing more value. You'll have fundraisers who fundraise more, and you'll get way more contact information and donor leads. A few bonus reasons. It's platform agnostic. Doesn't care if your supporters are extremely active on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or Snapchat or wherever they are. Everyone can donate. Then there's also just the whole privacy issue. Users will not need to hand over data to Facebook before they can create a birthday fundraiser for you. Great. Okay. Now, that was the 4 reasons. Now you're hopefully prepared. You're excited to go create an ongoing birthday campaign yourself. This is a preview of an instruction set for doing this. You will need, and this is important to note, this is only really useful and possible if you have a good structured data set on your supporters, including email, first name, and birthday. This is really the prerequisite for doing this. Then you also need a decent email marketing automation system that can send out emails based on a date. And then you also need Better Now or some other peer-to-peer fundraising system. So if you have those 3, then you're ready to go.